Okay. When I first started, I worked for what's called a direct lender. Okay, a direct lender is like if you're gonna go shopping for shoes and you go to the outlet mall and you go into Nike. Okay, let me just start with the painfully obvious thing. I am no artist, okay? Throughout this entire session, do not expect artistry from me. All right, a direct lender is like shopping for shoes, but going to the Nike store. Okay, if you go into the Nike store, you're only gonna get Nike stuff. You can get shoes and you can get shorts and the athletic pants and you can get wristbands and headbands, right? You can get a lot of stuff at the Nike store, but you're only going to get stuff that's Nike, okay? In mortgage, direct lenders are going to be like your true banks, or we call them depositories. Okay, depository means they take deposits, like checking, savings, things like that. Okay, so think Chase, Wells Fargo. We call them B of A or Bank of America, KeyBank. You might have a local credit union. So for us, like in Colorado, it might be Belco. In New Mexico, it might be Nusenda. Okay. If you go into any one of these direct lenders, you can get a lot of stuff. You could get a checking, you could get a savings account, right? Like just going to the Nike shop, you can get a headband. But what you can't do is you can't go into Chase and be like, hey, I heard Wells Fargo has one of them really good loans. Do y'all have the Wells Fargo loans? And they're gonna be like, no. Our name on the building says Chase. We do Chase loans. So you would never like go into the Nike store and be like, oh my gosh, did you see those new Balance shoes? They're so hot. They're super popular. Do you guys carry the New Balance shoes? They're gonna be like, no, this is the Nike store. Okay. So when a borrower or when a client who wants to borrow money, okay, when somebody wants to borrow money and they bring their little application, okay, when they go to a direct lender, if they go to Chase, they'd have to fill out an application. And if they go to Wells Fargo, they have to fill out an application and so on and so forth, okay? As a broker, what we do, okay, we're like DSW or Off-Broadway, okay? Which means you can come to DSW, and if you're looking for running shoes, look, you come to DSW and we might have, DSW has like running shoes, they have boots, they have flip-flops, okay, they have dress shoes, okay, in running shoes, they have, you know, you can get Nike, you can get New Balance, you can get, Asics, okay? You can get all kinds of things at DSW. So my family specifically has a very interesting blend. You either have feet like my side of the family, which represent Fred Flintstone, and they're very wide, and shoes like Nike, until like a year ago when they came out with their wide size, I could never wear Nike because they were too narrow for my feet. But my other set of kids have feet like, oh, in case y'all didn't know, I have 7 children. I've birthed 6 children. We have a 7th bonus child. But my husband has really skinny feet. So the kids either have short Fred Flintstone feet or long skinny feet. If they have long skinny feet, then they can wear things like Puma and Nike, and they just fit better because the shoe is different, okay? And so what happens when a borrower comes to a mortgage broker, okay, is they take one application in with them, and this one application, we take the one application and we shop it around. So if you've ever, like, this is such a universal concept because gents, I know that you've bought shoes as well. I know you've either bought golf shoes or tennis shoes, right? Even if you go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy tennis shoes, there's always the shoe guy. And they say, hey, what can I help you with? And you're like, I would like to try these shoes on. And they're like, great, what size? And you say, for example, a 7.5, okay? The shoe guy goes back in the back. Not to say that there aren't shoe ladies, just in my experience, it's always guys. The shoe guy goes back to the room and he comes out and he's like, hey, I brought you a 7 and a 7.5. What I know about this shoe is they typically run a little small. So people that get 7.5s normally have to go bump up a size, so I brought you both, okay? We're like the shoe guy, okay? We talk to a client and they're like, hey, I'm looking for some running shoes. So we're like, okay, well, we're not gonna get any dress shoes and we're not getting any flip-flops or boots, so we're not gonna do any of those, but we are looking for running shoes. So maybe these are our 3 best options. So as a broker, someone might say, like, for example, I have a 640 credit score. Okay, well, we know that these 3 banks don't even do loans for people under a 640 credit score. So we're not even gonna try and shop that loan for them, okay? If you go, and this is loosening up a little bit, okay, but if this borrower has, let's say they have a 680, well, during COVID, a bunch of these banks said, our credit score requirement is 700. So what happens here, and what I didn't know, you guys, what I didn't know when I first started, is they're gonna get no from Chase. They're gonna get a no. What happens is this person thinks, oh, I can't do a loan. I can't get a loan, okay? And I used to think that when I told people no, that they couldn't get a loan. They weren't eligible. But if this person is with a broker, maybe this bank doesn't do it. Maybe these banks don't do it, but maybe these ones do. So what I didn't know is just because one of these banks couldn't do it, I didn't realize there were more options out there. When I came over to broker and I finally understood this, what I understood was that brokers really were the best opportunity for the client to get what was available in the market. Here, they can only offer what they offer, okay? If all they offer is Nike shoes, then that's it. Whether it's in my budget, whether it fits, whether it's the right color, right? That's it. That's all that Nike will offer me is Nike stuff. And there were many times, as I'm sure you all have experienced, there were many times when I left the store with nothing. But it didn't mean that I couldn't go to another store and buy something else. And there were often times that we bought Nike shoes somewhere else. We didn't buy them from Nike, okay? So this is the difference between direct lending and broker, okay? And so we're like the DSWs of the mortgage world. We will go and shop and find, and even if you want Nike, like maybe we'll suggest that you go with the New Balance because you have wider feet. Or we might say, hey, we do have that in your size, but it's probably not gonna fit very well. Maybe we need to go up a half a size. In the way that that works in the mortgage world, okay? Because so many people don't realize this, which is the same thing I didn't realize, okay? And when I left direct lending, my last job at my last direct lender was Wells Fargo, and then I went into the broker world, and it was something completely different, which is why if you're somebody who has retail experience and your broker still wanted you to come in here, this is why.